Emma stood in front of the restaurant's glass door, taking one last deep breath before stepping inside. She smoothed the blue dress she had picked after trying on nearly 10. Her best friend insisted she needed to put herself out there again, and for once Emma agreed. Daniel seemed different. His messages were thoughtful, never rushed. He asked about her dreams. He shared his love for homemade pancakes and Sunday cartoons. She felt safe, even through a screen. The restaurant lights glowed warmly, creating a cozy world of soft music, flickering candles, and gentle laughter. A waiter guided her to a table for two next to the window. Emma sat down, nervously glancing at the door every few seconds. Tonight was supposed to be the start of something beautiful, she told herself. Minutes slipped by. Then 30. The waiter came again, smiling politely. "Still waiting, miss?" Emma nodded, cheeks warming in embarrassment. She sipped her water, pretending she was perfectly fine. Her excitement turned into confusion. Confusion slowly turned into worry. What if something happened? What if he changed his mind? The empty chair felt heavier with every passing moment. Part of her wanted to leave, to avoid the humiliation of waiting alone like she wasn't worth someone's time. She checked her phone again. No message, no missed call. Emma took a deep breath and stood up, grabbing her purse. Enough waiting, enough disappointment. Just as she took a step toward the door, tiny footsteps echoed across the floor. Two little girls appeared in front of her table. They looked about 6, identical with matching pink dresses and curly ponytails. Holding hands, they stared up at her with wide eyes. One of them asked softly, "Are you Emma?" Emma froze, unsure what to say. The other girl spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "Our daddy's sorry he's late." The entire restaurant seemed to fall silent. Emma's heart stopped. "Daddy?" Emma blinked, unsure if she heard the girls correctly. Her brain raced to understand what was happening. Daniel had never mentioned children. He never hinted that he was a father or that his life was complicated. Before she could speak, the older twin gently placed a small white envelope on the table. Her hands trembled slightly. "Daddy said to give you this if he couldn't come inside," she said. Emma's fingers brushed against the envelope. It felt heavier than paper should ever feel. With a deep breath, she opened it. Her eyes scanned the handwritten note, every word sinking deeper into her heart. "Dear Emma, if you're reading this, it means I wasn't brave enough to come. You made me excited about life again, but fear is a terrible enemy. I am a father. My world is my daughters. They already lost one parent. I can't risk another heartbreak. Or risking yours. I'm sorry." Her throat tightened. He wasn't rejecting her. He was protecting her. Emma looked up, searching the girls' faces for answers. "Where is your daddy?" she managed to whisper, though fear wrapped itself around every word. The twins exchanged a silent glance. The younger one tugged Emma's sleeve gently. "Come with us," she said. Emma followed them outside into the cool night air. Cars rushed by, lights flickering along the street. She looked up and down the sidewalk, expecting to see a nervous man standing awkwardly nearby. Nobody. The emptiness around them only made the mystery deeper. "Why didn't he come inside?" Emma asked again. The girls hesitated. Their small hands squeezed each other tightly like they were holding on to courage. The younger girl's voice shook as she answered. "Daddy can't walk anymore. Since the accident." Emma's heart missed a beat. The world seemed to tilt. "What accident?" she whispered. The older twin's eyes filled with tears. "The one where our mommy died." Emma stood frozen, the weight of their words crashing into her like a wave. In the span of a single evening, a simple blind date had turned into something far bigger, far more heartbreaking than she ever expected. The empty chair inside the restaurant no longer felt like rejection. It felt like a cry for help. Emma knelt to be at eye level with the twins, trying to steady her voice. "Can you take me to him?" she asked. She didn't want to push, but curiosity and concern swirled inside her like a storm. The girls nodded quickly, eager and trusting as if they knew Emma was someone safe. They walked together down the street. The night grew quieter with each step, city noise fading behind them. Street lamps cast long shadows and autumn leaves rustled along the pavement. Emma kept glancing at the girls, amazed by their courage. They were so young to be carrying such a heavy story. Finally, they stopped in front of a modest nursing and rehabilitation center. The building looked calm and peaceful, with soft lights glowing behind wide windows. Emma hesitated. This was not where romance usually led. Her heart pounded hard enough to hurt. Inside, the girls led her through a hallway smelling faintly of medicine and fresh laundry. Nurses smiled at them with familiarity, as if the twins were regular visitors who brought sunshine into the quiet place. When they reached a room near the end of the hall, the older sister quietly pushed the door open. Emma stepped inside. There he was. Daniel sat in a wheelchair near the window, his silhouette outlined by moonlight. His shoulders were tense, his hands gripping the wheels as though holding on for balance in a world that shifted too fast. He looked up slowly when he heard footsteps. The twins rushed toward him, hugging his arms. Daniel kissed the tops of their heads, trying to smile. When his gaze met Emma's, that fragile smile broke. He looked terrified, like someone afraid of being seen. "I wasn't sure you'd come," he said, voice low, cracking slightly. Emma stepped closer, noticing scars on his hands and the exhaustion in his eyes. "You should have told me," she said, gentler than she planned. Daniel swallowed hard. "I didn't want the first thing you see in me to be everything I lost." He stared at the floor, ashamed, as if his wheelchair defined him. Emma shook her head softly. "You don't get to decide what I see," she replied. In that moment, the room felt warmer. The silence was no longer uncomfortable. It was the beginning of truth. After that first night, Emma found herself returning to Daniel's side often. At first, she told herself it was only to help the girls, to be supportive. Yet every time she visited, she left with her heart a little fuller, her worries a little lighter. Daniel had a quiet strength hidden behind his fears, and the girls carried joy that even grief couldn't dim. Emma helped with school pickups when Daniel had therapy sessions. She read bedtime stories when he felt too tired. She cooked dinner with the girls, learning that one liked extra cheese on everything while the other hated crust on her bread. Their laughter began to feel like music she never wanted to stop hearing. Daniel watched all of this with wonder. "Why do you stay?" he asked once, his voice so soft it almost disappeared. Emma simply smiled and replied, "Because every day here feels like where I'm meant to be." Little by little, Daniel allowed himself to hope again. When his strength returned enough for him to practice walking a few steps, Emma held his hands tightly, cheering for every small victory. The twins danced every time Daddy stood up on his own. Emma cried happy tears in silence. Months later, Daniel made a huge decision. He invited Emma back to the same restaurant where their story began. This time he arrived early with the girls. A special seat had been arranged for his wheelchair. But he tried standing for a moment when she arrived, holding onto the table for support. The waiter recognized her at once. His eyes widened in delight. "The table for two?" he asked. Daniel smiled, shaking his head gently. "A table for four." The twins giggled, sliding into their chairs between them. Emma looked at the once empty seat across from her. It wasn't empty anymore. It was overflowing, with love, second chances, and a future she never expected. As they clinked their glasses together, Daniel whispered, "Thank you for waiting for me." Emma squeezed his hand, eyes bright with happy tears. "You weren't late," she said. "You arrived exactly when I needed you." Under the soft lights and warm music, a blind date that almost never happened turned into a beautiful beginning. Love had finally found its way home.